So in this video, we're going to get on to uploading the images we created in the design video onto our brand new Redbubble account. So Imi, welcome back. And
Thank
you
you.
have got your designs already, haven't you?
I have. Yeah.
So let's head into Redbubble. So here we are in Redbubble, and the first thing we're going to do is click on Add New Work. And there we are. It's just making sure I'm a human. And we're going to click this left-hand one, and I'm
Mhm.
going to select Imogen's picture from my files. And there we are, it's uploaded. Now, Imogen, watch this. Before I do anything with it, just watch this.
Okay. Oh, I love that.
Obviously, some of them I'm going to need to move it around.
Tote bag would be great.
Yeah.
Not so sure about the trousers.
Now, some of them, can you see they're not as colourful, not as bright?
No,
That's because these products are disabled, so I would just click on them to enable them. So we need to do a fair amount of tweaking because obviously this is no good.
no.
So what we're going to do is we're going to put a title in here. Now, I don't want you to type here, for example, I don't want to put, I'm going to call this great accent,
Mhm.
but I'm not going to put great accent t-shirt or
Ah,
great accent mug because that will automatically populate depending on which product people are looking at. So if somebody puts in "oh, accent mug" in the search engine, this will come up and it will automatically populate with the product. So we don't need to worry about that. So now we're going to put tags in, and we can put up to 15 tags in. So you haven't got many. And obviously, this helps the search engines to find your products. Now, these do go onto Google. So what you put in here is quite important. It means that if you were to put great accent t-shirt or something like that, again, it populates with the product. So you don't need to put t-shirt, mug, and list them all of those things. But if somebody were to put into Google that they wanted one of these products, great accent t-shirt, great accent mug, great accent hoodie, then it will bring up your product. Let's go on and type a few in. I'm not going to do all 15 because we'll be here for ages with my typing. And as you can see, I'm separating each one with a comma and then a space. And then description. Now, this isn't Google ranked, but I do recommend putting something. So this is just to make it appealing to your customers. Now, before I go down into the products, into tweaking them, I want to highlight a couple of things. We've got here different languages. So it's already going to be doing all these different languages, but you can translate them yourself if you want to. Otherwise, it'll just do it for you. Now here, we can change the background color. And this is why I'm so fastidious about putting it on a transparent background. Because watch, look at what happens when I change the color. So everything that isn't a surface print, the background changes.
hmm.
Now, I think for this particular design, white is where we need to be.
Mm.
White is always FFFF, FFFF, and black
Mhm.
is always 0000000. But if you wanted it in black, there you go. So it's just a really quick way of being able to change something so fundamentally. So now we're going to go into each one and have a play around with it and get it exactly how we want it. This one, standard print clothing. These are all the different types of clothing that we've got within just this one section. So there's actually 12 things here. Only 9 out of the 12 are currently enabled. I'll
Mm.
explain why in a moment. So here it is on our t-shirt. It's just a sample, just to see what it's going to look like. And you can see there's lots of different things. With the hoodie, they don't do white, so the closest is cream. If I were to make it small on this product alone, it would do exactly the same on all of the other products in this standard print clothing area. So, for example, if I make it 21% and take it over here, yeah, it looks fabulous on the hoodie. But what about when we're on the tank top? Looks a little bit lost.
It does.
So we might not want to do that. Alternatively, you might want to do a whole second version with just that little breast print there. So let's go back to our t-shirt. Take it back up to 44%, which is where it was. And as you can see, we can center the design vertically and horizontally. The other thing that's down here, it says the print size. So if we wanted to design just for this selection of clothing, we could use this size instead of our 5,000 by 5,000, and it would fill more of the space.
Mm.
But we wanted it to fit as many products as we could. So we could do an alternative size if we wanted to. Now, I will say that when you're designing for a t-shirt or something like that, try and imagine 4 fingers width down from the neck. You don't want the print to start much lower than that. Equally, some prints you do see up here, but generally a good rule of thumb is 4 fingers. Now this top I'm wearing at the moment is sort of 5 fingers really from the actual neck. It's sort of 4 from the stitching. It's only a rule of thumb, but it gives you that sort of area so that it's not
Yeah. Yeah.
flat. So that's why I've dragged it up there. And if I was designing only for clothing, I probably would have done that 4,500 by 5,400 size to give me the oblong instead. This print size is fine. By doing it bigger, it's going to be much crisper. As you may have noticed, over here we've got 9 out of 12 products enabled. So now we can click on these to also have children's clothes. So we've got kids' clothes, there's a variety of different things, baby vests, little and things like that. So now we've got all 12 enabled. Now, the reason they don't automatically have this set is because if you've put something adult on here, it's not going to be very good to have that on kids' clothing. So they
Right.
make you consciously decide to have kids' clothing. Now, currently, we're doing this in my account just to show you how it works. But your settings in your account when you first start,
Mhm.
every product will have a markup of 20%. This little box here, you can
Mm.
change the markup on just that one product if you want to, or just that one selection of products. So if I wanted to make all my children's clothing 25% markup, I can. Or
Mm.
all my children's clothing in this design, well, we're in this design, 25% I can. If I wanted to make my active t-shirts 40%, I can. Now, the great thing about this is markup, which means if I only put 1% in, I'm not going to make an awful lot of money out of each one, but it means I'm not going to make a loss either. It
Mm.
won't let me do less than that. So let's make it 19 again. Why do I pick 19? Well, the reason I pick 19 is it means my products are just a few pence, just slightly cheaper than everybody else's. So if we were looking for great accent, great British accent tops, and mine came up next to Imi's, and mine was pretty similar, people can't decide between the two. Mine's a couple of pennies cheaper. Oh, we might as well save ourselves a couple of pennies, no matter how much money you've got. That is always such an incentive.
It
It's
is.
it's
Yeah,
just
it
insane.
is.
So use all these retail mind games. So when you've got it how you want it, click on apply changes and it will apply changes. Now, I'm not happy with that black. Let me just change that. They're obviously not doing white anymore. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go into t-shirt and make sure it's on white. So these are all the colours that your product is going to be available in. Now, I will admit this teal writing won't necessarily look that nice on this. But
No.
with Redbubble, unfortunately, you haven't got the ability to remove the green. It's just there. So it's up to your customers. If they want to buy a t-shirt that I consider looks quite ugly in those colours, they can.
Mm.
And the same with some of these that might look a little strange. So, but it's completely up to them. The other thing that your customer can do is they can decide if they want it on the front or the back. of the item. Now, there is no ability in Redbubble to have it on the front and the back. Have to use a different print-on-demand supplier for that. Okay, but we'll have it on the front and we're going to stick with white. So, Imogen, does that all make sense with that
It
selection? That's
does. Yeah,
the
it's very interesting. It really is.
It's amazing, isn't it? And
Yeah, it is. Once I've made that thing, then I'm not going to make it again.
that's it. That's it. It's there. And this one is the trickiest because it's got 12 products within it. The others haven't. The others are much simpler. So
Yeah.
I think that's why they put this one first, so you can get your head
Ah,
around it.
okay.
So next, we've got large print clothing. And this, you've got a much bigger print area, obviously, because it says that. That's what it's called. But we've got the same thing here. We've got a settings cog here instead of a tick. But same thing here. We can go in, change the markup, and also disable them if we don't want them to be available. That looks great. I'm quite happy with that.
Mm,
You use these arrows here to go between them. They've got a lovely long one here. I particularly like this with the scoop back.
mm,
And again, you can choose different colours if you want different colours on there, and you can choose whether they go on the front or the back. So because these are surface print, the customer gets to choose the colour. Whereas before, when we changed the colour in this box here, we're telling them what colour it's going to be. But for surface print, the product colour is the product colour. If it's a red t-shirt, it's the print being put on a red t-shirt. So large print clothing we're happy with. Hats, obviously this one needs a bit of work.
it does. It needs a bit of tweaking.
Let's scale the image, bring it down, and we've got it all contained in there. I might just make it tiny bit smaller because of that G.
We haven't got made in Britain.
Oh, we haven't got made it well spotted. Nearly did you out of that bit.
Yeah, and that's the important bit.
Yeah. So there we are. I'll center it horizontally and vertically. And once again, we've got a different file image size if we want it to just cover this whole space. And we're only doing it for these hats. And once again, we've got the different products here. Got a bucket hat, a baseball cap, and a dad hat. And once again, these are surface print. We can't insist the customer just does it on the colour we want. But this is the colour it shows up in the shop.
Mm.
So that looks really cool, actually. I really like that.
Mm. Yeah, it does.
So we're going to apply changes. And now we get onto the ones which, if we change the background colour, they can't override it. So chiffon. Do you love a bit of chiffon? We're going to reduce it. So keep rolling up and down to see what you think about how it looks on the product. So although it might look okay on here, let's have a look on there. That really doesn't look that great. So keep moving it around. Remember what I said about the four fingers,
I
but
think that's about right.
that's about right. And then we're
Yeah.
going to set it horizontally, make sure it's in the middle. Now, as you can see, this top has got black sleeves and a black collar. This is actually an all over print. So that means I can change the background and I can do it just on this individual product to a different color. Oh, that's horrible. So I can change the background to a different color if I want to, or anything. So, and obviously I can type into here the hex code, the Pantone color, if I want to. So the other thing you can do on an all over print is I can turn it into a pattern. Now, this doesn't necessarily work very well with a slogan like this, but imagine if you've just got an image of a heart or flower or something like that. I'm going to show you it anyway. So the choice of pattern, there's no pattern, regular grid or offset grid. So it's like, like brickwork.
Yeah.
And then you can take the scale down so it covers it. And look what's happened to our chiffon top. Now,
Huh.
obviously, our slogan, that is a nightmare and you can't read it. But as I say, you can do some wonderful things with it.
Although with a slogan, that would cause the viewer to hone in on your body to read it.
Yes, and as you know, I'm not a fan of that.
No, I'm not a fan of that.
Yeah, fan of that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave this one in this sort of duck egg colour, just
Yeah,
so that we can see the difference. I probably wouldn't if I was creating my own lot. If I found a colour I liked for a background, I'd probably do them all in that colour.
yeah,
So let's carry on through, and we can speed up a bit because as you can see, some of these have only got that one product that we've got to think
yeah,
about. So in this one, I don't particularly like it like that. So let's have a look at that. That's okay, but perhaps on this one, I might want it just as a little breast one. Maybe. But then that white dress is going to get filthy, so
yeah.
I'm going to leave it like that. I know I wouldn't buy it, but but even so, it's a good way to show you what you can do.
What this is showing me is that it is crucial to have that saying in this color, maybe, but also black and also white.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. This is why we did lots of different versions of it. This one I'm just going to leave like that. I think that looks quite cool.
Hmm.
Apply changes. Now, do I have to click apply changes? You can get away without it. It will still save it. So this A-line dresses. This one I'm going to do as a pattern just to show you what it looks like when it's printed. I know it's hideous. Stickers. Five five versions in here. So let's go in and have a look. That is so cool. I really
It
like that.
is.
So this one's all sort of just about bonded together, whereas Made in Britain comes off as if you bought this, you would get basically a big sticker and the smaller sticker. Here we are. We can go into there and look at them. Again, we can change the markup on the stickers if we want to. And they do a variety of different stickers. So they do a magnet, they do a holographic one, the ones that have got that nice sheen to them.
Mm,
They do a glossy one, a transparent one. So all of this white would be transparent. So
mm,
if you have a sticker with white writing, you want to disable everything apart from transparent, because otherwise you're just going to end up with white blobs all
yes.
across. Be
Yeah.
horrendous. And then just a basic sticker, which is the sort of the cheapest. So, and I'm not going to click apply changes on that one, just so you can see that it still applies them anyway. So this one I've enabled and I'm going to edit it. Now for this, the desk mats are great, but they are very long and thin. And if you were to consider where your computer keyboard would go on here, it will go right across that print. So I would maybe move it over to one side, or perhaps make it smaller, or perhaps get rid of it, or usually turn it into a pattern if it worked. This doesn't necessarily correlate to this. Yeah, so let's bring it in just a little. There we are. So I'm going to leave that like that. Oh, we jumped past the phone case. So the phone cases, I'm going to shrink down. And I want you to think about this as well. This is another one where you need to check. Look, I want you to think about this. Do I want it to be in the middle at the back? Or are most of my customers likely to have those knobbly things or those magnets on the back,
Mm,
in which case it would obscure it. So shall I drag it down here? I mean, you don't have to, just an idea. I could drag it down there, or I could say, well, let them have that, you know, and I shall just put it where I think it looks better. And
mm,
we've got two versions. We've got iPhone cases and Galaxy. I think it just means Samsung generally. I know this feels quite long-winded. I totally get you, but you won't. I can show you a quicker hack once we've mastered this. So that looks great. I love the mouse pad actually. Not that
mm.
ever uses them anymore. Pillow's quite good.
I like the shower curtain.
Yeah, really works on there actually.
Mm,
That is great. And then once again, obviously, if we want to change the background colour, we can as well. On any of these.
mm,
Pet blankets, that doesn't need tweaking. Right, so they put a new setting in here on mugs. So now, we never used to have this. So now you could do a pattern if you wanted to, or you can just have the two like we have. or none. And this is how it used to be originally. So that's
Well, that's an improvement, isn't it?
a real improvement. I'm very happy with that. And they must have listened to people. And obviously, as I go through, you could change any of these prices. Scarves. Now, on scarves, I tend to do a pattern.
Mm,
Obviously, it's not really going to work with this, but when you imagine it around your customer's neck, they're not going to see it if it's one big print. Drawstring bags. Remember, you've got those corners taken out. And also, imagine a drawstring bag when it's got something in it.
mm,
So really think about how your customers will be using it. The spiral notebooks, and then here we've got hardcover journals. And can you see I'm not clicking on that apply changes button anymore, and yet it's
yeah.
still keeping them. I could just put it up the front. Imagine this book splayed out, face down on the table. You'll see here that although it looks like it's in the middle of that section, it's actually over to the side here.
Mm,
The way it considers the center is part of this spine here. Because
hmm.
on a hardback book, you do get a little bit, don't you? So I
Yeah.
really want to take it over a bit more so that it looks a little bit better.
This is interesting because if you didn't know all of this, you'd leave it in the default place and you'd be disappointed.
You would, you would.
Mm.
Next, I want to just go through the patterns because there's an extra one here, front and back. So we've got regular grid as usual, offset grid as usual. Now we've got front and back. And as you can see with front and back, you can have it on the front and the back. It's a bit tricky, I'm not going to lie. It's a bit tricky to get it in the right position because the gap is a bit too big. So I tend not to have a pattern on these or to have an all over pattern. And then acrylic blocks. Now with the acrylic blocks, it's used my whole 5,000 by 5,000 design, but look, it's cut off my question mark here.
Ah,
So I want to make it just slightly smaller so that we're safe. Throw blankets, that looks good. Now this is quite an interesting one. If I were to replace the image with a different size, I could make one specially for the bath mat like I talk about. But look at the size of that, 6,480 by 4,320. If I were to do that in Canva, it wouldn't allow me to do this big because there's a
mm,
on Canva. So 5,000 by 5,000 is working just fine.
mm.
This one, once again, it's gone over the edges.
That does look cute.
Pin buttons. Feels a bit tedious going through them, but it's worth it.
Mm,
Bun. And also with this one, bear in mind how people are going to wear it. It's no good having the print going right round here to the straps if it's something like a slogan that people are going to read from the front.
mm,
If you've done a design where the whole thing's coloured in the same colour or something like that, you wouldn't might want it to go further around, but you wouldn't want this,
mm.
even though it's completely contained in there, it's just not going to work. So really think about how people are going to use your products. Now the jigsaws are a bit tricky. This is the only one I often disable because if I was to do the print in a way that is going to work, it
Mm,
needs to be crisp for a jigsaw, obviously.
mm,
9,000 by 6,000 odd. Now we can do this in Photoshop, we can do it in Photopea, Adobe, but we can't do it in Canva. You can't make it any bigger. I can't drag it across to make it any bigger. And this would be a very difficult jigsaw
it would.
with all the white. It's going to
It
be very
would.
tricky. Yeah. Now, obviously, I can choose a pattern. It would be a bit of a nightmare. But for the purposes of this demonstration, I'm going to leave it enabled so that you can see what the jigsaw's like. Sleeveless top. Probably wouldn't buy a mini skirt with this on, but
No.
I might put it down as an like random thing down by the leg or something. Leggings, I would pretty much, unless you've designed specifically for the leggings, scale it down and use the pattern. Plain white leggings can go back to the 80s. And in
Yes.
socks, I tend to use the regular grid. And then backpacks, that looks really peculiar. But you can imagine if that's one of your pieces of artwork, Amy, imagine how cool that would look. So I'm just going to put it on the pocket.
Yeah.
But something I want to draw your attention to, the stitching on these are black. So
Yeah.
I would probably make it a darker colour than
Yeah.
white.
Yeah.
It's one piece of fabric that goes all the way around. That one
Ah,
will be upside down.
yes.
It's
Which
like a
is,
Louis Vuitton.
yes, you definitely need to see what it's looking like on the picture, don't you?
Yeah. So I've just done it on one side. Because this is a fitted mask, it's got
Yeah.
darts in, so that's not going to work. Be particularly careful if you've got like graphics, images, pictures, because if you've got a picture of a face here and then it gets all pinched in, it's going to look really
Mm.
peculiar. So there we are, we've done the whole lot. Media, all I want to know here is what sort of thing it is. So this it's not photography, it's more of design and illustration, we'll call it. And default product. This is if someone was going to go to my shop in Redbubble and they looked at this design, what would it be displayed on? So I can leave it as optimized, or if there's one thing I know it looks amazing on, I
Mm.
can pick that. So I think I particularly like the mug. So let's pick the mug. And who can view this work? Anybody or just me? So if I was doing things and I literally just wanted to put it on there so I could buy some t-shirts for myself and my friends, but I don't want the rest of the world buying them. Maybe it's for something like a big birthday or something like that, or a hen party, and I put photos on and things like that. I can just select only you. But if I want to make money out of this, I need it to be on public so that I can sell it. So, mature content, does it contain nudity, lingerie, adult language, alcohol, drugs, all sorts of naughty things? No, it does not. And this one's so important. In fact, you can't get any further without ticking it. This is saying that you've got the right to sell the products because the artwork is something that you have created and not you haven't taken it from anywhere else. You're not breaching anybody's privacy or anything like that. So saying that it's your work and that you've got the right to use it.
Ba-boom.
Oh, there we are.
Hurrah.
Let's have a look. Moment of truth. Oh, look.
That's amazing.
They take a while to generate, especially when I'm showing my screen.
I do like the hoodie,
Yes.
man's hoodie without the zip.
Yeah, just the throw over one.
Yeah. And the vest.
The dress actually looks quite good.
Yeah.
So here, I would go in and pull this down a bit because on this style of Samsung phone,
Yes.
the
It's
camera's in the way.
interfered with.
Oh, the clock. Didn't change the clock. Isn't it great though? Here, I can share them straight
Oh
away.
my word.
Quite old-fashioned. It hasn't got Instagram on here or anything, but you can share it directly. Or here, I can download images of them. And look, we've got mock-ups.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Aren't they gorgeous? So you can
Yeah.
download that, and then you've got it to share on your social media and things like that. And then make sure you put the link to the product.
Ah.
Always, always. So here's some of the baby products, the kids products, little baby t-shirt, kids t-shirt, long sleeve one piece and short sleeved.
Oh.
So there we go. So I want to go and I'm just going to go in and find the clock. And what else was it we didn't like? These.
The cameras.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So to do that, I'm going to edit. And then the first one I know about, I haven't got that enabled. Doesn't make an awful lot of sense. Because it's a dog for a dog.
Yeah.
Oh, there's the clock. I just whizzed past it. Again, you can do the pattern on here. Something else with clocks that's interesting, you can change the frame colour. You can have bamboo, although it's plastic really. And also the hand colour. which is nice. I'm just going to pull that down a little. As I say, every time you make a change, you have to click this.
Mm-hmm.
So as you can see, there's quite a lot more clothing here than just those few boxes that we started playing with in that first section.
Mm.
So that's because we have got the different sorts of t-shirt and different qualities of t-shirt. So we've got a really lovely premium t-shirt here for a lot more money. And then we've got the essential t-shirt, which is quite a bit cheaper, but it'll be reflected in the quality. Got a tri-blend that will have some polyester and a bit of stretch in it. And then with the ladies, we've got a fitted scoop one, just a fitted one with a normal neck, fitted V-neck, relaxed fit, premium scoop. So there are lots of variations that come up, but obviously you don't have to tweak it on each one. So,
Mm.
so there we are. And the pullover hoodie, we've got a pullover hoodie, but there's also a lightweight hoodie. So you've got a couple of different ones. The pullover one's thicker and warmer, so that's why it's more money. Customers who go to Redbubble to buy things are buying things because they're unique. They're not buying things because they need a hoodie to keep them warm, for
Mm.
example. They're buying it because they want something that very few other people will have, or it says exactly what they want it to say, or the image is something that they're looking for particularly. It speaks to them or it speaks to who they're buying it for. So don't think of print on demand as a budget way to sell to people. It's
No,
not. I don't
no.
want people up the garden path. You can make things cheaper if you do it through your own website, because then you're not having to pay Redbubble for all the promotion and everything that they do effectively. That's why the prices are a little higher, but they still sell. So
Yeah.
that's what matters.
People would pay that for a t-shirt they really wanted, frankly.
Exactly. They're already at the website. They're already looking to buy these things. The other thing you might notice about those prices is they're not 14.99 or £27 exactly or anything like that. They're really peculiar numbers.
They
Now you
are.
can spend your life, if you really want to, tweaking, playing around with those percentages to try and make them those numbers.
Mm.
I wouldn't bother, because if you think about even in that clothing section where you've got several sorts of clothing in one price point, you're not going to be able to make it that they all end in 99p. It just can't happen. Plus, these are being sold around the world. So if you've got them 99p in English money, they're going to be something totally different in dollars or
Mm.
euro. So
Mm.
just get over it. Just put up with it,
I
because
could I could get over it.
it's really not worth it. It's really not worth spending your time. Now, this has been quite a long session, but there's something I want to show you. So I'm going to take you back into that design. And to do that, you go into Manage Portfolio. And this is where you've got them. And these are all my sample ones that I show to people in training. You'd think I'm obsessed with geese. So I'm going to go back on this one that we've just done. And I'm going to click on here. Copy settings is what we want. And here it has totally copied it. Now, in a moment, I'll tell you what these marks are across it. Yours won't have this yet. So what it's done is it's copied the whole thing all the way down. So copied all of those placements and everything. So I'm going to delete that bit and I'm going to click here, replaceable images. And I'm going to change it for one I've prepared earlier. Here's one I made
Ah,
earlier.
oh, you're
It is
so blue, Peter.
I'm so blue, Peter. I'm going to change it for a white one that I did. And dum dum dum, it's changed. Obviously, you can't see the white ones yet. It's changed all of them. It's put them in exactly the same position. So I haven't got to go through and tweak them
Oh,
all
that's
over
good.
again.
That
I
is
know,
good.
right? Yeah. And I'm going to change this to black, which, as I say, is all the zeros. And in fact, let me call it great accent. in white just for me. But who is actually going to search great accent in white? Nobody. But these surface prints I have to change manually because this is only my default. People could buy it in white on white if they wanted to.
Mm.
In theory, if I do one, it should change all of them. Yeah, good. On this one, you have to go in and change them all separately. I like it better in white.
Mm.
Hey. So once again, tick my box, but it's copied all of this as well, look, so I don't have to change that. If I wanted it on something different, I could. So look how quick that was.
Wow, that was quick. I think this is going to be such fun sitting on my chair in the evening doing this,
Now,
faffing
nobody
around
said
while I watch television.
I think so too. This and this don't work. So I
No.
want to go in and change those. So here's a transparent sticker. That's why if it's white, we only want transparent stickers. That's so cool. So now I'm going to go in and just edit those products that I don't like. So the first one is clothing in baby kids clothes. Defaults here to change the defaults. The other one that I wanted to do was stickers. Where's my stickers? Stickers. That just looks ridiculous. Stickers. It's like, guess what it says? So you simply disable those except for transparent. Again, one thing you will learn by the end of this is that you have to tick that box.
You will. Because it'll be really annoying if you go off the page and you haven't saved it.
It just won't let you.
Oh, okay.
So there we are. So looking really good.
It is.
If I get this is only on my sample account. If I get loads of sales in me, I'll send you the money.
No, you don't. No, you don't. Really. No, you don't. It would
So
be nice if you did, though. I'd be very happy that you
you
did.
wouldn't mind. This one I might maybe tweak because here, obviously, it's done it in the black box, and I could maybe go in and do a different one in Canva so that it covers the whole rectangle.
Yeah,
Would
yeah,
I bother? Probably not.
yeah.
The tote bag doesn't really work because it's
No,
white.
because you can't see it.
Yeah, so I'd probably just disable that. There we are. That is how to upload products. Now, one thing I
Brilliant.
want to show you just before we go, while I've got you, I want to go into account settings. And because we've started to put products on, and sometimes you don't get these till you've put 5 products on, but because I've got the normal dashboard. This is what your dashboard will look like once you've got more than 5 designs. Instead of having that one that is like the temporary one, you get this one and it's got a lot more things going down the side. So if I wanted to share my shop, the whole of my shop, and not just a product, you can copy that and it will share your shop's URL. But what I want to do is I want to go into account settings. And while I'm in account settings, I
Protect your work.
protect your work. That's it. When you first start your account, you've got it set like this. You've got no watermark. I put this tiled watermark, that one that you saw, the lines and crosses, across my images. And that means that people can't take a screenshot and copy them.
Yeah,
So I do that. It just does it across the design version, but it's still really useful to do. You can put just a little watermark in there, but then if you've got a design where, say, it's a red box, a red square, and somewhere in the middle you've got a picture of a flower, because it's gone in the corner, the watermark isn't going to be over the important piece. So
no,
it's very easy for them to still steal it. So this one goes right across. It's much better.
excellent.
The other one is this. If you tick this, when people right click, it makes a transparent image go over it, which makes it not very clear, not clear enough
Ex-
for
What
them to use
what
them.
a good idea.
hmm It really helps. So, as they say, your original high-res images are never displayed on the website and can't be downloaded. But
Fabulous.
as they say here, it's completely impossible to stop people completely, but this is gonna just make it harder for them.
Yeah.
So make sure you click save. I do want to show you, while we're in the settings, pricing as well. So although you can change the markup, as I showed you on every single individual design, on every single individual product, you can also do it across all of your products. So if I wanted every drawstring bag to be at 60%, I could. But the other interesting thing here is if I decided I wanted all my products to be 60%, I can click on this apply to all. And look, it's gone down
Oh my
on
goodness.
all of my products. So it's
How
a much
handy is that?
and it even thinks about whether you want to just do it going forward or for existing work as well. So you can tick that button and it'll change prices on all my existing work. Now, as I often say, I don't think 60% is wise because it's too much. Next to the one by somebody else, they're going to look
Mm,
at mine and mine's going to be more expensive. So I'm going to put here, I'm going to go back to my favorite 19 and again click apply to all. However, I know that stickers on Redbubble sell really, really well. So I'm going to make all my stickers more expensive. I'll make my stickers 60%. So then I save it and it comes up with a little bubble to say you sure and you just click yes, okay. Your price settings have been changed and applied to all of your work.
brilliant.
So there we are, set all across them. It is it's just a time saver. It's
It
just a
is,
time,
certainly.
it's a time
Otherwise,
saver. Yeah.
you'd be sitting there fluffing around which I would do because I didn't know.
Yeah, that's it, and it's another one of those things that you don't have to think about then.
Yeah.
It becomes your
Brilliant.
default, the same as mine, always 19.
Brilliant. Yeah.
So there we are. We now have 2
Oh,
designs, 93 products. So we've got, what, 186 products available on
that's
sale.
outstanding.
I do love that moment where people first see the designs. They've spent all that time poring over, making it nice, and then they see it on all those products. It's just magical.
Yeah, it is. Yes, that's given me an idea for next Christmas presents, you know.